If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, as well as follow me and subscribe to me on all my other social media platforms. What's up, Thrashers, and welcome back once again to the Thrash Maniac 99 YouTube channel, and we are now at day 7 of the 12 days of metal, where myself and other YouTubers that love metal talk about a favorite album of ours from a particular subgenre of heavy metal each day leading up to Christmas. So we are halfway through, now we begin the second half, and we've been on a big extreme metal trend for the past few days with thrash, black, and death. Now let's get into something a little more outside of the box, and that is, of course, progressive metal. Now, progressive metal, of course, to put it at its simplest, it's the hybrid of heavy metal and progressive rock. So it takes the sound of metal with the musical philosophy or method of progressive rock, or progressive music as a whole. So basically, you're going to get a ton of long songs with some weird song structures that don't follow particularly the verse, chorus, bridge idea. Or if they do them quickly, and then they get into other sections before returning to the verse, chorus, bridge idea towards the end. So they can also even skip genres even at times. Like one minute you could hear them getting into some blues. Sometimes you can get into classical, some jazz, or even metal genres within. So you never know what you get. And also, progressive metal is a perfect fusion genre to go into other places. Like you have progressive thrash, progressive death, progressive black, progressive alternative even. You can pretty much go any which way you want with progressive metal. And for my choice, I'm going with one of those hybrids, and that's progressive death metal masters, Opeth, with Blackwater Park. After all, I've been such a huge fan of Opeth for the past 8 or 9 years after I fully dove head on into them after high school, listening to them on YouTube, and then going out and getting all the albums. And Blackwater Park still holds a special place in my heart. After all, songs like Bleak, Harvest, Drapery Falls, the title track, top to bottom, it's beauty. It's progressive metal beauty that has so much in the way of death metal. Some doom sections, even gets a bit gothic at times, a little folky, especially with Harvest, with that beautiful acoustic guitar and the classic duet of Steven Wilson and Michael Ockerfeld. Just, it's just so wonderful. And of course, Michael's death growls. Oh, how I know we miss him on the albums now, but hey, at least he still does it live, so there you go. And I can understand where Opeth's going now, and in fact, if they have a new album in 2023, I am definitely going to get it, because who doesn't love Opeth? But yeah, Blackwater Park, of course, this album, 2001, Steven Wilson from Porcupine Tree produced it, and does an amazing job with the sound and the sonics and the atmosphere and everything, and even him on piano and keyboards really just add some depression to a lot of these songs. And these riffs, you get some downright evil, nasty riffs on this album, and killer drum work from Martin Lopez, great bass work from Martin Mendez, who's still in the band today, and that underrated duo of Michael Ockerfeld and Peter Lindgren on guitar, just coming up with some cool dissonance, some cool melodies, some heavy riffs that might be simplistic, but they're catchy and they stick to you. So yeah, Blackwater Park by Opeth is my pick for progressive metal. But of course, let's see what my cohorts have to choose.
What's going on, guys? Boss Up A6 here, back to another video, and today I'm here to do another installment of the 12 Days of Metal. Now, last time I talked about the death metal. Now I'm going to talk about progressive metal. If you guys know me, I'm not a prog guy. I'm really not a prog metal guy at all. Like, if you guys see my Iron Man retrospective, you guys know why. I've never been a fan of prog, and I don't think I'll ever be a fan of prog. But there is one album that I do actually like, and I grew up with it because I was listening to a lot of it back in my day. Back in my day, no, I just this band. I know a lot of people give them a lot of hate because what's not to hate about this band, and that band is of course Tool. Now, I haven't listened to a lot of Tool, but I listened to enough of it to be like, okay, I really do enjoy this band. And what album did I go with? I could have gone with Lateralis, but I listened to this album more, and of course that is 1996's Enema from 1996. This album is such an adventure for so many things, and it really connects a lot of moving pieces to it. It has more alternative like tracks, but it's more progressive, and it really blends that really good alternative feels like on songs like Hooker with the Penis and 46 and 2 and Eulogy and the title track in some ways. But if I had to pick one song on this album that I really like, it's the first track off the album, the opener, Stinkfist. This song is so much fun. I absolutely love this track. It's one of my favorite, if not my favorite Tool song. And I really dig this album. And I really dig that song. Now, how did I get into this album? I got into this album basically just listening to the radio and, not going through Tool's entire discography. I mainly listened to, not say all the singles, but when the songs pop up on the radio, I listen to like, oh, those are cool. And my dad kind of listened to Tool growing up as well. And that's how I got into it. Now, how does this mean to me? This album really means to me that it's a band really want to experiment with things, and I think it's clicking. And I guess you could say they went a little bit more with Lateralis in, I think, 99 or, was it 99 or 2000? It's one of those. No, it was 2001. And I think they hit it here. I think Lateralis is good, but I don't think it's as great as Enema. And I really dig this album. And again, all those moving pieces really connect on this album. It literally fits like a glove. And yeah, I know a little bit of a shorter rendition of this, but hey, I don't want to waste anyone's time with this. And again, I'm not a prog guy, but hey, maybe that will change in the future. We can all see. So anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. What is your favorite progressive metal album? Let me know. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Like, comment, subscribe, join the herd. Talk in the next video. Peace out.
Well, guys, here we are to day number 7. So we're more than halfway to the 12 days of metal, which, like I said, I've been enjoying watching everyone else's suggestions. Like I said, already great suggestions throughout everybody who's been creating all these videos. And for day number 7, we're going to be tackling progressive metal or prog metal to be sure. Pretty much, prog metal has a reputation for being one of the most complicated yet unique subgenres in metal because it combines everything that, what the perfect way I can say prog metal is for smart people, because it's all about, time turnings and certain time, the guitarists, the drums, very long songs. And I mean, really long songs, like close to an hour fucking album, to be honest. But there's a lot of prog metal out there in the world that you can enjoy. You can go for something from the originators from Rush, or something more modern, like maybe something like New Obliscarius, which is more about kind of prog death kind of thing, or even death itself, which, albums like Leprosy, The Sound of Perseverance, or even Symbolic. But I went with an album that, to me, when I think of prog metal, I always automatically think of it. And of course, that is from the band Dream Theater. And of course, they're one of the biggest prog metal bands in the world. And to me, I could have gone with something like Octavarium. I could have gone with Metropolis Part 2. But I went with the album that kind of introduced me into the band. And for a lot of people, introduced into prog metal and even into Dream Theater. Of course, I'm talking about Images and Words. Now, Images and Words is one of the most influential prog metal albums in the past 25 to 30 years, because when the minute you start up the album, you have the band's best song and one of the best openers they could ever do, and that is in Pull Me Under, a 8-minute masterpiece of a song that You never thought back in 1990, this was like 1991, 1992, when supposedly metal was dead, but it wasn't really dead. It just went more underground. Along came a band like Dream Theater and kind of began this. Now, I don't want to say a crusade, but this new revolution of creating these type of songs about instrumentation and more epicness that created this subgenre, even though it was a subgenre already created back in the 70s with Rush. They kind of took all of that and made it more, I guess, more modern. That's more modern street, that's the best way I can say it. But, with a band like a Sabotage, which also could have gone with Hollow Mountain King, which is another great album, but with Dream Theater, Images and Words, it was the initiation for a lot of kids back in the 90s who were introduced to prog metal and eventually became prog metal nerds or whatever you want to call it in Dream Theater. And Dream Theater has been the bare standard of one of the best prog metal bands of all time. And Images of Words is one of those albums that, you ask any huge prog metal fan, it's either between this, Rock the Vapor, Metropolis Part 2, or some of the later albums which are pretty good. But with Images of Words, like I mentioned, will Put Me Under, their most notable, most commercial, and my favorite Dream Theater song of all time, a song that I constantly listen to like almost every day at work. But you go deep into the album, you get, some songs that really people really don't listen to, like, of course, Metropolis Part 1, American the Sleeper, which will eventually, that transcend into, of course, the album Metropolis Part 2, Wait for Sleep, Learning to Live, Under Glass Moon, Another Day, which is a great instrumental, Take the Time. Even though it's not the greatest, Dream Theater album in the world, to me, it's probably my personal favorite because, like I said, it has Put Me Under. It has a lot of things that at the time weren't really appreciated, but as time went on, it began to begin more about notoriety. People began to actually see what the band was trying to do back in the early to mid 90s, of course. Eventually creates albums like Awake, and of course, like I said, Metropolis Part 2, and Octavarium, and so on and so forth. For this day, I chose Dream Theater's Images of Words for being one of the most influential progressive metal albums in the past 30 years, or even of all time, and for the fact that it has probably their best song in the entire discography in Pull Me Under.
What's up, guys? It's just Josh here for day 7 of the 12 Days of Metal. Today's progressive metal, and my pick for progressive metal is the 10th album from Dream Theater, Black Clouds and Silver Linings, released in 2009. Now, some years ago, I stumbled upon the track A Nightmare to Remember, which is the opening song from this album, and just instantly I became not obsessed with it. It didn't hit me that hard, but I definitely really loved it and listened to it nonstop for a while. And just a complete masterpiece of a song. So many different shifts and change-ups and stuff. Just an amazing song. And the rest of this album is really good as well. Great tracks such as A Rite of Passage, Wither, The Shattered Fortress, The Count of Tuscany. And yeah, lots of just mind-altering time signature changes and tempo changes and stuff like that. This was their last album to feature Mike Portnoy on drums, which Mike Mangini is good too, but Mike Portnoy is just an absolute legend, just an amazing drummer. And yeah, it'd probably take me 10 years to learn how to drum like him, dude. He's definitely a master at the kit. And some great vocals by James LaBrie. Now, some people don't really like his voice. I don't mind it. I think he's a pretty good singer. And some great heavy riffs, especially in A Nightmare to Remember. Just great heavy riffs. I think they tuned down to C standard for that song, so it's just nice and thick and chunky. The guitars. Just a great progressive metal album and my favorite.
Favorite progressive metal record? That would be Queensryche's Operation Mindcrime. Probably possibly the best metal record of the 80s. A concept record, top to bottom, an absolute thrill ride. Favorite tracks? All of them. I mean, I love them all. Anarchy X, Revolution Calling, The Needle Lies, I Don't Believe in Love, Eyes of a Stranger, Speak. just phenomenal records and phenomenal record. And this is where Queensryche is at their peak. Nobody could touch them at this point. The band was communicating on firing off on all cylinders. Jeff Tate was a beast at that point. As a vocalist, nobody can touch him at that point. Maybe the closest one would have been Rob Halford. So yeah, Queensryche, Operation Mindcrime, favorite progressive metal record.
Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of the 12 Days of Metal. Hope you guys enjoyed the following albums that we've talked about on this episode, and I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas indeed. Horns high. See you guys in the new year.